I was kind of shocked by the interview. Um, you know, of them addressing it to the world because there's a lot of, saying out there how they can't coexist and, how they kind of pick like, go at each other during the games and whatnot and
Hmm.
who's getting the shot. I still, I just don't think they're close like how Jaylen Brown was trying to make it seem, even though like his cousin babysits Deuce or whatever. But I just think like, I don't know. I feel like they're cool. Like they don't have nothing against each other, but they're just not like close, like how they made it seem in the interview. Like, I know they're happy for one another, but I still think there's that level of competition
Hmm.
between those two on the court of like, I'm the guy, or Jaylen
Right.
Brown like saying I'm the guy. Because I noticed Jason sometimes like Jaylen will hit like, three shots in a row, like three threes. And then Jason, he'll just do like some crazy dribbling, step back and try to
Hmm.
like, take not try to take the shine away, but I don't know. I just noticed little stuff like that. But um I don't know. I don't make too much of the interview how a lot of people did.
Hmm. Yeah, and I just kind of want to reiterate some of the things that went on in that interview. So if we kind of look at the quotes, um, Brown said that his relationship with Jason Tatum, which he believes is centered around respect, has definitely grown a lot, and that he enjoys playing with him. And this is what he kind of continues on saying for his actual quote: "We both put in a lot into the game, regardless of what I do off the court or what people think I do off the court." Brown told reporters Wednesday at Celtics training camp. "I respect Jason, and he's one of the best players in this game. I think he can be one of the best players when it's all said and done. I think the same about myself. So I think respect is what this relationship is centered around." And then Brown shot down the narrative that there needs to be a Batman and a Robin, um, and that him and Tatum are two guys that can hoop. Um, and that's perfectly fine. I kind of want to kind of piggyback off what you said. Like I don't think this interview is
Yeah.
really like exposing anything. Like there's no sort of like key thing that Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown said about one another that I'm like, wow, I didn't
Hmm.
really think about that. It's more so like I think it's to appease Celtics fans and to appease people from being like, well, do these guys like each other? The way that they play on the
Exactly.
court, it's not really conducive to maybe the way that winning games. But what I will say about this whole thing for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is that the Celtics have they basically dedicated their future and basically their future on these two guys. Um,
Hmm.
Obviously the bench players are still a little shaky. We're still kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. I know this is supposed to be Romeo Langford's breakout year, right? Every year we talk about Romeo Langford in his breakout year. Um, and you're hoping
Yes.
that this is his breakout year, because at the same time, we look at everything and you want to see Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum dominate like they usually do. The problem with this Celtics team is going to be their role players and what they're going to get out of them. We talk about guys like Romeo Langford. We talk about guys like Naismith, Peyton Pritchard, who I really like. I think he's a great player. Just I want to see a little bit more out of him. Um, in terms of like really solidifying himself as that backup point guard now for the Celtics. And then of course you got like Al Horford, back on the team after a little stint with the 76ers and then the Thunder. What's he going to be looking like? And then of course you have so many other things going on. With the Celtics right now that I'm really concerned. And what I mean by concerned, it's more so like, how's it all going to fit together? Is Robert Williams going to be finally be healthy enough to where he's going to contribute a lot on the floor? And that I don't know. And that's the thing that I'm still
Hmm.
waiting to kind of see about Robert Williams. But we'll see what
Yeah.
happens, man. I mean, I know I kind of went a little soliloquy right there. Tyrese, do you have anything kind of? Well, I mean, what's your kind of expectation for the season? I know it's really up and down for Celtics fans. Some are really high on them, some people are
Hmm.
really low. Like I'm probably one of the lower ones because I'm not really convinced with the bench and kind of the role players
Yeah.
for those two.
Yeah, I'm not really convinced either. I mean, Romeo Langford looked good, Grant Williams looked good, but then again, it's like these teams aren't giving their full effort, So it's like Grant Williams could dribble the ball up, and nobody's not going to try to press him like how it would have been, how it would be in a regular season. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of neutral on how we will be. I guess I just have to see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put too much credit for them right now until I actually see some production.
Yeah, and that's my thing too. We can look at the preseason, and even then, my thing is like regular season. I don't really care about too much because I know what these guys are about. They'll hoop against anybody, and they can be the crappiest teams, they can be the best teams. Um,
Yeah.
and
Because
we've
at the
seen,
end of the day, they're still professional players. So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah, and you're right. I mean, they're professional players. They're doing their job, and they'll probably do it really well. But my thing is like, can these guys do it when it matters most? Can they do it in the playoffs? Can they do it when Boston is down, two to three in a series, and they need two wins in a row to move on? Like, can I rely on Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown to do that along with the bench players and the role players? Like, I'm not trying to disrespect guys like Dennis Schroeder, Robert Williams, Grant Williams, like. Those dudes are hoopers. They're ballers. They're professionals. Obviously, much better than me. But at the
right.
same time, we've seen the song and dance time and time again, and they just did not convince me this offseason. Like Grant Williams to me is still the same Grant Williams.
Hmm.
Romeo Langford, as much as I would love to be like, yes, this is going to finally be the year that Romeo Langford gets it. I just can't believe that. And then Naismith, it's the same thing. We saw last year. I know he got hurt, but at the same time, it's like Naismith didn't really add anything to our team as well. So,
Well,
Celtics fans, you have to. We'll see what goes on there.
yeah, we'll have to see, but I will say this, the one positive thing we do have going for us is having Al back because I think a lot of those young guys are gonna want to learn from under Al.
Mm-hmm.
Jayson and Jalen and Marcus, they vouch for him all that, not vouch, but you know what I mean. They
Yeah.
give him credit for pretty much raising them, about 3, 4 years ago. So I think Grant Williams is loving going under Al Horford's wing right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Romeo is too. So I wouldn't say they're going to be like six mans, but I think we could at least get like 8 points out of Romeo. Some type of like contribution.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but then again, we'll just have to see. I mean, like again, I don't think we're gonna beat the Bucks. We're not gonna beat the Heat in a 7 game, but who knows? I mean, the one key guy I do like who we have back is Al Horford because he can, he adds so much diversity to his game of different styles.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we're gonna have to see. I mean, the season's coming up. I'm juiced, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the crazy thing about right now is that we're just a week away from the regular season, which makes it seem like it's forever. But um, we're really like gearing up for this NBA season. The preseason for NBA is so much different than football. Football, of course, they have like 3 to 4 games. I think this year was 3. Meanwhile, basketball, you have a couple, but it's to grind for an 82 game season. Whereas the NFL
Plus
now it's
playoffs.
16 games, 17 games. And then you have playoffs as well with a best of 7 series. So it's gonna really challenge us in that aspect. What I'm really looking forward to for the Celtics team is who are going to be the guys to step up in that bench role for us. We talk about Udoka now finally being there. We got Brad Stevens. He was able to do, what he could with that team. Obviously failed to what we were expecting them to do. Really should have went to the NBA finals a couple of times, failed in that aspect. And you want to see more out of this team. And so we'll see what Udoka can do with these guys. I'm really hyped for Robert Williams this year. I know you're not. Well, not hyped, but you're not as
Bullish on him.
bullish on him as I am. Like, I think he'll be
Yeah.
a really good player for us. His 4th season. I think this is also a make or break a year for him. Obviously got the
Mhm.
contract. He could just be happy and just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna chill now. But I really think you're gonna get a really great Robert Williams. Marcus Smart got his new contract. I'm curious to see how he's gonna do. I still think he should come off the bench for us, but he probably will start.
Wait, you
And
said who again?
Robert or Marcus Smart.
I don't think he's gonna start. I think it's gonna be Dennis, game one, just to see, because we already know what we have with Marcus if we start. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we already know what we're gonna get. So I think they're gonna roll out with Dennis just because he can get to the paint and something different. He's
Yeah.
he's more aggressive driver than Marcus.
We got a lot of people in the chat. Sean, you said Bernie's emails are getting leaked next time. Sorry, I'm no John Gruden, so we're good there. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I would not be working at the school if I had those type of emails. Uh,
Yeah. Be
Chariot
careful with those
Nation,
emails.
Tar Heel Nation, you said really wish the Celtics kept Matisse Thybulle in 19. That would have been nice. Um, and
Yeah,
then
that would have been nice. I
Sean,
want a thigh bowl too.
Sean, you said Corey Kispert is really just a better Corey Kispert is really just a better Jason Tatum. All right, you need to stop with this malarkey that's going on here, Sean. I know you're a Gonzaga guy. We'll probably talk about Kispert. I know he had his first his debut for the Zags. But kind of going back to the Celtics and kind of staying on top because this is a also recorded video for the people watching later on that are not live streaming with us. Tyrese, I mean, we talked about it before. I mean, what do you expect from both the Jalen's this year, or the Jays, I should say? Like, are you expecting both these guys to be all stars, all NBA guys? Like, what's your prediction for the Jays this year? Because I think that's really what's going to make or break us. What's going to make or break it for us for the Celtics are
Mhm.
those two guys. And so, what do you predict for them in the future?
I think both guys are going to be solid. I honestly, I'm a little bit more bullish on Jaylen Brown. I think he could be our leading scorer this year. And yeah, I think they're going to do fine. I think Jaylen Brown's going to do very well though. He might average anywhere from 26 points a game. So, um, yeah, I think both are going to do very well. I just think Jaylen Brown, he's going to really show.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't really need, I mean, we need Jayson, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say we don't need him, but I think he's gonna show to where it's like, if it came down to it and we need some guys for the bench and a more completed roster to even trade him, that he can hold it down and be the first, the first option.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna do really well this year.
Yeah, I'm
But
really
both are.
I'm really bullish on Jason Tatum this year. Like, I really do think that he could make an All NBA second team. I know last year I think he was. I don't even think he made one last year.
Yeah,
Um,
he didn't, I don't think.
really should have made it over Simmons. I know they're gonna argue Simmons is a point guard, but again, that might just be my bias with Simmons. So I'm gonna check myself there at the door with Simmons. But I really do think that Jason Tatum can make a knock for that first team All NBA, and I think he definitely will make the second team. Like, I've seen the
Oh
progression
yeah,
with him.
definitely.
Again, his game is not something that like is gonna appease like the basketball coach in me. Like, the basketball coach in me is gonna kind of kind of freak out a little bit because you want to you can see that there's better shots out there, but you trust your athletes out there, and that's something that a lot of coaches, I'm sure Udoka had to get used to it. I'm sure that Brad Stevens, I was trying to think of his name. Brad Stevens, I'm sure, really got used to it because of the way that he used to play from his rookie year to where he's at now. But I really do think that Jason Tatum's going to take that next step, and I really do think that he could really be challenging for the scoring title this year.
Really.
I just think he has explosive. I mean, especially with the way that our team's constructed. I mean, it's basically Jason Tatum's the number one option, and everybody else get out the way. And I know that Jaylen Brown is going to take that next step up because I see it with him.
I
But at the same time, I really think that he's going to make it so that we're going to be challenging.
Mhm.
Probably for the 6th or 7th seed, to be honest with you. Like, again, am I
Yeah.
like as a team wise thing? I'm not expecting too much from us because I think at the end of the day, this is a team game, and if you're not getting the production out of guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, um, well, I mean, you'll get that production, but what I meant to say more so was like if you're not getting the production from like your bench guys, because those guys are the ones that are going to make or break it for us, like I've been saying,
Oh yeah.
for this season. I just don't think that those guys are really going to bring their A game to the point where, it can safely get the Boston Celtics to like that 5th or 6th seed, or sorry, that 4th or 5th seed, where I think it's going to be more so 6th or 7th, so we're going to be battling for, in my opinion.
No, I agree with the seeding. I just think with Udoka's mindset of passing the ball around, I think that benefits Jaylen Brown a lot because Jaylen Brown's more of a mover than Jason Tatum. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to benefit him a lot in getting to the cup, etc. I mean, he averaged damn near 25 a game. Um, so I think I don't think it is Jason and everybody get out the way. I think it's my turn, your turn type. Some games Jalen might take over, some
Mm-hmm.
games Jason might take over
Yeah.
because Jalen Brown's some could argue he's even a more consistent scorer than Jason Tatum. Um, because he just he can do it all, man. Like he can get to the cup. He doesn't try to
Hmm.
do too much. Sometimes Jason, he can get out of control and just trying to put the team on his back too much.
Yeah.
And but I think Jalen is a more efficient player than Jason,
Yeah. I mean,
personally. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
think Jason's a more talented player, but I think Jalen's a more proficient, such as shot efficiency, shot selection, getting
Hmm.
to the cup, etc. But
Yeah.
Jason's more talented, yeah. Better
Yeah, I mean,
scorer.
I do agree with that. I do think that Jalen is more efficient in that aspect. I mean, we saw it last year, the jump that he made, even from like his last
Huge
year,
leap.
like just a huge leap. And so I think we're gonna get the same old with Jalen. I don't think he's gonna necessarily do too much to be like, okay, now I'm gonna take that next step where I'm like scoring like 30, you know, maybe 30 to 32 points a game. Where I do
Oh
believe
no
that you're
no
gonna
no.
get that from like Jason. But I do agree with you in the sense that he'll be a consistent scorer. Like
But
he'll probably be like his like, maybe 10 for 17 type of deal with like 4 or 5 from 3 point land, or like maybe 4 of 6, and really just kind of hone that, like that's my role for the team. And I really think for the Celtics to get beyond what we're talking about, Tyrese, in terms of like that next level of like, okay, we're really going to be contending for the championship. I do
mhm,
think, in my opinion, Jason Tatum has to take that next step, and kind of be like his idol Kobe. I mean, I think that when we look at the stuff that Jason Tatum loves about Kobe, I think there is some things where I do recognize that he is a Kobe Bryant fan, but there
mhm.
is some things about Kobe that he needed to adjust his game in order to win those last two championships for the Lakers. And I need Jason Tatum to know that earlier rather than later in his career.
I think Jason just needs to be more aggressive. I know he
Like
put on
attacking.
some pounds and yeah, like just get into the basket like playing bully ball, like Emma was saying, like if he can do that, we'll be very successful. And for Jalen, I just think he needs to play a lot of good. I think he needs to get back to that 2016 type defense he was playing. I don't know. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of forget he was he's a good defensive player, but I feel like he kind of took a step back. If he could get towards like that
Yeah.
2016 defensive player, remember this is a guy who was locking up KD, man. Like in
Yeah.
2016, 2017. Like he was a great defensive player. Then he just took a step back and tried to go full offense. Like if he can
Yeah.
balance that, like oh my God, we're dangerous.
Yeah. I mean,
But you know,
no, the only thing I was gonna say is like, I mean, he had to for the sake of our team,
mhm,
with the
yeah,
way
that's
that
true.
it's like it's Jason Tatum, and then who else is gonna really get the scoring? Like, and that's
Exactly. And
something
Al
that,
was gone as well.
yeah, and so that's kind of like what we had to rely on. So at the end of the day, I don't think we're gonna necessarily I don't think we're gonna get that Jalen Brown back unless we get another third superstar. Um,
Hmm.
but I am excited to see our future and what it really holds for us, because I really do. I think there is some exciting parts. Now the question for me is going to be with these guys is, especially next season, when, apparently rumor is that that's when we're going to be really targeting a free agent. Uh, and then that,
Honestly, I wouldn't wait until next year. I would
I
try to
mean, I
start
wouldn't
looking
either.
out for for the bench. Like we need depth, man. Like screw like you don't need three guys on the floor to win a chip. Like you just need guys
Yeah.
who can play D and play their role. Like what the Bucks did. Look at the
Yep.
Suns. Like they don't have three superstars who are 25 points per game scorers. Like you don't need that. You need
Yep.
guys who are play their role
Hmm.
and not complain. That's it. And until then, honestly, I don't even think we need a third superstar. We just need really solid role player veterans. We could
Hmm.
get that. We're solid. Like we're back to 2017, 2018 levels.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, we'll see how it continues for us as we, progress through the season, as we kind of do a midway point check and all these other things to kind of really see where the Celtics are at this coming season. What I will say is that I am excited for the NBA to come back, especially for Boston games and Boston
Yeah.
fans. I'm sure they're excited to be there at the TD Garden, really celebrating with their team. And I think that's what I'm really looking forward to for the season, and I'm really looking forward to see, what are we gonna, I think this is kind of Romeo Langford's, not saying prove it year, but I'm just hoping that we get something out of him because he's gonna come under scrutiny for that draft because of Tyler Hero and all this other stuff. I know I've been harsh in saying that we should have taken Tyler Hero,
Hmm.
but I would love to see like Romeo Langford prove me wrong, and at least contribute to the team in a really
Yeah.
impactful manner.
I think he could. It just has to, Brad wasn't giving him a lot of play, so it's kind of hard to get in rhythm. So I
Yeah,
think we've seen a little glimpse of what he could do if he's getting opportunity.
yeah,
It's easy to scrutinize someone who's not getting rhythm. Who's sitting damn near 85% of the games on the bench, besides if it's garbage time. So I think he can, average 10 if he's given, 20 to 22 minutes a game.
yeah. But we'll see what happens. Let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of this Jason Tatum story? Do you guys like the idea that they respect each other? Do you like the idea that they really aren't saying anything about Batman and Robin? Or do you think that there needs to be that one dominant person in a relationship, no matter what it is, whether it's a marriage or whether it is just a casual relationship or whether it's like just two bros? Um,
Yeah.
what do you guys make of that? And let us know in the comment section down below because I really love to know your guys' opinion on Boston Celtics. What are your guys' take if you are a Boston Celtics fan? Do you guys like the fact that Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown have talked about this on air? Let us know in the comment section down below.